Hey, welcome back. It's Wednesday. Usually we do this thing on Monday, but we've had a lot of stuff going on, so Monday, Wednesday. I'm glad we were really blessed to move it back this week. I get to tell you about a real special occasion that we had yesterday. It was our 20th anniversary for drug court. Now, 20 years ago, which would have been 2005, Greg Hembry, who is now senator, was the solicitor here, and he brought in this idea that has taken a long time really to take off. I'll tell you what I mean by that. We have served over 2,000 clients. Now that's approximately 100 a year, right? Which is not bad over 20 years. In some parts of the state, drug court is their current class is about 14 or 15 in some of the larger cities. Here, we are currently serving 254, which is really, really good. Let me tell you a little bit about drug court and what it's involved into and why ours has become a lot more successful. And I've given this to Post and Courier and some of the other locals that have done something on drug court. I think it would be almost impossible to build this up overnight. Anybody that is starting a drug court or a treatment court, mental health court, veterans court, it takes some time, some seasoning. Because at first prosecutors were very skeptical. And I remember, I'll be honest, I was skeptical of it at the time. When you see a hammer, everything's a nail. And after we were skeptical, prosecutors, the police were skeptical for the same reason. And then for another reason, a different reason, the public defenders in the community, they said, look, public defenders saying, everybody's set up to fail. This thing's too hard, for our people. Every client that comes in has been arrested over a dozen times. Doesn't mean they've had a dozen convictions, and it doesn't mean that it's all big, but you're dealing with people that are in the system for a pretty bad drug addiction or a pretty bad mental health disorder. But what makes ours unique and unusual is it's a post-plea model. And what I mean is you go in front of the judge, you plead guilty, the judge sentences you to 10 years or 3 years or whatever the appropriate sentence is. And then just like would happen in probation, where they would suspend that sentence and say, go to probation, now they say suspend it and you can go into drug court if you've got if the underlying fact for your criminal activity is drugs or mental health, or if you're a veteran. And we can't put people in there for murder or for armed robbery. We don't put people in there for those charges. We put people in there that have drug charges or they have stealing charges because of drugs, stuff like that. Part one is you got to pay restitution immediately. This isn't really like probation where we'll get a civil judgment. You got to pay your restitution off up front. Second part is you're going to have a job. You got to have a job. Everybody in drug court before they leave is going to have a job. There's 0% unemployment rate. Now, that may mean you're underemployed. It may mean that you should be capable of making $31 an hour, but you are making $20 an hour. That is what it is. But everybody in there has got a job, or if you don't have a job, you go to the landfill and you sort through trash all day. And then that's your 8 hours a day. So most people don't want to sort through trash and get paid nothing. Most people will go out and get a job. But everybody's going to have a job. And everybody is going to be drug-free. We test 3 times a week. We also go out to the houses on random, very random, but regular occasions, and we test at home. The reason for that is most drugs, marijuana stays in your system a long time, but most drugs come into your system and out of your system really quick. And if we waited a month to test, you could probably get away with it. We make you P-test 3 times a week. We have in-house counseling. We partner with the community. Like yesterday, our 20th anniversary was at Langston Church. Special shout out to those guys. They allowed us to come in and have a wonderful graduation ceremony. We actually graduated our 1206th client. I told you we had served over 2,000. Most people, a lot of people don't pass. And we know that going in. It is a very tough program. It is a lot of drug testing. We don't kick you out for failing a drug test, but you immediately go to jail. You immediately get sanctioned for failing a drug test. And what you see and what has been created over 20 years is a structure. And the biggest problem with a lot of people that are heavily addicted, if you are from a big family, you've probably got someone in there that is addicted to drugs. And a big problem for them is they cannot structure themselves. They don't have a box tight enough to structure them. But all drug court is about structure and about recreating it and about giving the people the tools to go forward with, that they will be able to live a life free of drugs. Mental health court, it's almost the same as drug court. A lot of it's codependency. But in mental health court, where we're testing to make sure this person doesn't take any sort of drugs or narcotics, in mental health court, we're testing for the illegal drugs, but we're standing there watching you take the prescribed medication for your schizophrenia or your bipolar or whatever is causing you problems. And here's the good news. I'll leave you with this. The recidivism rate, in other words, the amount of people that get rearrested within 5 years of graduation from drug court it varies, but it's usually less than 15%. Now just ask yourself if the person that went to prison or the person that went on probation, if that recidivism rate is higher or lower than 15%. I'll save it. It's much higher. Drug court works. Ours is the model for the state. It is currently serving 254, and we just graduated over 1,200 people. So it was a big milestone. 20 years. We got a great director. We got a great staff over there. And it is a really, really good program.